And Curtis, not Matt, but everyone else, was watching Monday Night Football without me. I have no idea what happened. And I'm telling you that to be honest, because you have to unfortunately answer all these questions.
Rams lost.
I know the Rams lost. I know that Puka made a catch that was cool but wasn't a catch. I know that Matthew Stafford messed up, but then they got back into it. I know Jared Verse had a moment, but I don't know what anything looked like. I couldn't tell you anything. I was so angry not being able to watch this game. A bunch of fun stuff was happening.
And it was a good one. It was a good one. Atlanta jumped out. What was it, 14-0 at one point. And McVay, I think they said this during the broadcast, he's 1-30 when his teams are down 14 points or more. So, yeah. Bijan Robinson had himself a day, $1.95, a long of 93. I believe it's like the third or fourth longest run on Monday Night Football behind Tony Dorsett. And I forgot who the other one was. Verse had a block field goal, scoop and score. You had Puka had a quiet game, but not a quiet game, right? He still had a touchdown. The catch at the end of the game, I thought at first glance, I thought it was a catch, and but replay. That's why we have replay. Yeah. Matthew Stafford threw 3 interceptions. And
from the 3G videos I saw,
from the 3G,
it looked pretty impressive.
Yeah, the almost catch by Puka, yeah, that was great. Matthew Stafford wasn't himself. 3 interceptions, 1 pick six to the house, and Atlanta did just enough to get by and make things interesting.
All right, well, let's take a listen to what some of those guys had to say afterwards. Sean McVay on feeling humbled.
We ended up giving up explosives. That was a big thing that we talked about not doing. They end up taking a pick back for a touchdown. And so I love the way that we found a way to be able to get ourselves back in that football game, but we weren't able to close it out. And so we make no excuses, but we weren't good enough. I do like the fight of this group, the way that we handled ourselves in the second half. And we had our chances to be able to close that game out. And here we are again in a disappointing situation, but this is a humbling league, and we got humbled tonight.
Yeah, they did get humbled. I mean, even just losing 2 in a row is pretty humbling. I still think, Bump, that there are a lot of people around the league that feel like the Rams are, to them, the best and most complete team in the NFL. And it's weird to them that the best and most complete team in the NFL is going to be a 6 seed.
I see the argument for that. And even after last night, I still lean towards them being one of the best, not the best team in the NFC. But this just shows you can't turn that football over. Mm-hmm. And that's what scares people about the Seahawks, is that they tend to turn the football over. Matthew Stafford, who before this game I think was the league MVP, he turned that thing over 3 times. And you got 1 score out of that. 1 interception, I don't think they got any money off it, but the other one they did as well. So, yes, it just shows that you must take care of the football. And if you have a good run game in the Atlanta Falcons with 219 collective yards as a squad, 195 by Bijan Robinson, you're going to be in this game. Kirk Cousins don't have to throw the ball 20 times. 126 for 1 touchdown. Just don't turn the ball over. Have a good run game. Be solid on special teams, and you'll be fine. Here's another thing, though. McVay probably feels validated with his special teams firing because they got a special team block and a score, right? So he's like, yeah, I feel good about that.
It's like, I did the right thing.
Yeah, but this is it was a great game, and I really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed watching it on I told you to look at it for a little bit, the ESPN
that
playbook.
view was really cool. Yeah. I thought the commentary was really awesome. For the 5 minutes that I saw from that, it was great. So if you watch
ESPN playbook, what they do is they'll show you pre-snap, what formation they're in, personnel. They'll show you percentages of guys catching the football, and then there's just deeper analysis when it comes to the details of the game. It was Dan Orlovsky, Luke Kuechly, and a couple other guys on there. That was dope. I loved watching that version of it.
Let's talk about what it means for Seattle's path to the Super Bowl. A little bit of Week 18 conversation here as well, though that's going to continue throughout the entirety of the show. The Rams losing, great news for Seattle in that if Seattle wins on Saturday night, they're the 1 seed. You got a bye week. If they lose, you go to face the winner of a horrible NFC South. And I know you're on the road, but I feel pretty good about Seattle's chances against either the Panthers, who they just beat handedly, or the Bucks, who I know beat them the first time around, but have won like 2 of their last 9. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I prefer the 1 seed. I prefer the bye, home field advantage, all that good stuff. But Atlanta hooked us up. We got to send them like a care package or something like that.
Something nice.
You know, something to really show our appreciation, because I went into the game thinking no competition. Rams going to get this. But that first quarter started rolling, and I felt the momentum of the game. And once you get into the third and they were where they were, I'm thinking, okay, you might have an opportunity here.
Well, and I will talk about the Eagles' issues and question marks and drama a ton, but they still have one of the league's best rosters. And I think that for their flaws on offense, they still are able to turn it on. And of the teams that I would have least wanted to face, outside of, right, like your own divisional opponents, the teams that I would have least wanted to face, the Eagles would be right at the top.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily want to see the Packers, but that defense is different without Micah. Jordan Love's coming back from a concussion, even though Malik Willis has looked interesting. But I don't want to face the Eagles. Now the Rams are taking care of that.
I don't want to face the Eagles, but I think that the Hawks could beat the Eagles. The thing that would concern me about the Eagles is just the conditions, right? You're going over to Philly. It's cold as heck. The Rams could not get it done last year against those guys. It's just the environment, right? I think they can beat these dudes, but it changes in the playoffs. The fans are louder. The atmosphere is colder. The stakes are higher. There's just more pressure.
Yeah.
The Hawks can handle it, but you're right. You want to set yourself up for success, and success will be beating the Niners, getting a bye, get healthier, and then riding this thing off to Santa Clara.
All right, well, the Rams lost to the Panthers and lost to the Falcons because they lost the turnover battle. And we've been talking about the turnover battle, even though Seattle has lost it and then won in games. It's something that we're kind of cautious about, that we're like, God, you can't continue to do that or at least lose the turnover battle in the playoffs. However, I think that the 49ers' last two primetime games and the Rams' loss to the Falcons have also reminded us of something Seattle has going for it heading into the postseason, and that is a tremendous defense. This was J.J. Watt on the Pat McAfee show after Seattle's win over the Panthers.
Their defense is just unbelievable. I think it was like halfway through the third quarter, the Panthers had 16 yards of passing on offense. There was just nowhere to go. Those D tackles up front, Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy, are so stout on the double teams, and they shut down the run, and then they also dominate against the pass. You got Eamon Worry on the back end and all those guys, Witherspoon, like Mike McDonald's a genius. He dials up so many different things.
As the regular season finale has neared, and now is Saturday and Sunday, I think one thing that's become even more clear to me is that for the questions, all the questions that I have about the offense or how intimidating the Rams and 49ers offenses have looked, for how good I think the rest of the teams in the NFL playoffs are, Seattle's defense, you can bet on them. They are amazing. And this is the thing that this team's going to have to lean on to get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did my Make It Make Sense Monday yesterday, and I said it's probably 3 weeks in the making, 4 weeks in the making, I officially identified this team with the defense first. It's defense. It is Leo, it's Murphy, it's Ernest, it's Imawari, it's Jay Love, it's Reek. Those guys, when I look at the Seattle logo, I now think about the defense first because they've been the most consistent. Yes, you gave up a bunch of points to the Rams. It's weird that they can give up the most yards in franchise history against the Rams.
Back-to-back weeks.
And I'm still like, yeah, this team is led by the defense because they've been the most consistent. They will make the plays. The offense just has to be good enough. And it's weird saying the offense has to be good enough and you have the league-leading receiver on that team as well. This team is such an interesting team because they've shown the ability on offense to put up a lot of numbers, to score a lot of points. They show the ability on defense to give up a lot of numbers, give up a lot of points, yet it's flipped. And I'm looking at that defense saying, you have to lead the charge. But I like it that way. I think that if you have a strong defense, even with a mediocre offense, you should be in most games, and that's all you can ask for during the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think, too, like it's something that's overlooked a little bit. We talked about it a ton yesterday, but it'll probably be a theme of the week where no one around the NFL doesn't know Seattle has a good defense. Everyone around the NFL says things like defense wins championships, but we all focus a ton on great quarterbacks, great offensive play callers, and high-scoring units. And we tend to credit them a lot and believe in them more. And I think it's the reason the Rams have a lot of steam even after these back-to-back losses. It's the reason the 49ers have a lot of steam heading into Week 18 because they score a ton. They're both averaging over 40 points in their last 3 games. Rams might be a little bit beneath that now. But and Seattle's not. And there's this really fascinating article from Ted Nguyen from The Athletic, detailing like that defenses are playing matching base defense with Seattle less often, so they have less opportunities for explosive plays, all that kind of stuff. So there's real evidence pointing to Seattle's offense being less explosive, less effective. Okay. Like I it's nice feeling confident about something heading into the playoffs as opposed to like, well, let's see how lucky they can get. Like, I feel genuinely confident about facets of this team heading into the postseason.
Yeah, I feel great about special teams. Maybe not as great this weekend because Rashid's probably not going to play. But you still have Jason Myers, a consistent kicker. I feel great about the way they're able to make adjustments in the second half. We mentioned yesterday they lead the NFL when it comes to third quarter points. Like, we've seen them have first halves where this offense just can't get going. Nothing's really flowing. And then you get to the second half, and all of a sudden, they figured a way out to run the football, to pass the ball, do all that good stuff. That's a big compliment to the coaches. And the little time they have to make adjustments, a lot of people think they have 20 to 30 minutes to make adjustments. No, the coaches are in the press box. They're running downstairs. You're getting through all the tunnels. You're getting to the locker room. You got 3 or 4 minutes, and you're jetting back upstairs. It's that's why you have so many coaches on the staff, too, because you get so many angles and you collect so much data. So that's what makes me even more confident in this team, is that they make adjustments in the second half, and it seems to have worked as of late. My only concern is when it gets tight and when the offense has to make a play, when they have to make a drive, can they do it? We saw them do it against the Rams. We've seen them do it a couple more times this year. But that's just my main concern, man, is, all right, it's going to be tight. This is the playoffs. You don't see many blowouts in the playoffs, all right? It's going to be tight. Can you win the ball game when you have a drive or two and you are down or it is close?
Last one, you mentioned that Matthew Stafford may have played his way out of the MVP, or at least out of the front runner spot. Are you entirely sure?
Yeah,
because it's between him and Drake May. No one else is touching it.
Drake made it through 5 touchdowns this past weekend.
Yeah,
I know it was against the Jets.
Still.
So be it.
I mean, the Falcons aren't a good team. They're out of the playoffs.
5 touchdowns. No, Falcons still actually have a chance. There's a weird scenario to where they might get
like a 3-way tie.
Some weird. Something to where my brain doesn't grasp it.
The NFC South is a circus.
Yeah. But no, he's out of that thing, man. Unless he comes out next weekend and throws 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, and Drake May looks horrible, it ain't going down.
Drake May. Those Patriots, good for them. They've gone so long without a franchise quarterback.
It's been a while, right?
It's been years and years and years and years. Just such
Mac
a feel-good
Jones
story.
In between Tom Brady? That's it?
Yeah, Cam Newton for
Cam was there for
a tiny bit there. Long-suffering franchise, those New England Patriots. Speaking of the Patriots, we're going to talk about the AFC number 1 seed, NFC number 1 seed. Everything's still up for grabs this weekend in Week 18. Before we get to that, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon says he feels his job is safe going into 2026. What's the real headline?
And I feel he is wrong. The Arizona Cardinals are 3-13 heading into the final week of the season. This is not Jonathan Gannon's first year. I'm not saying that it's Jonathan Gannon's fault entirely that they're struggling. They've had quarterback issues, personnel issues. He doesn't draft, right? But if you're going to turn over the quarterback, if you're going to turn over a couple other things, usually the head coach is one of those things that goes too, and you bring in an entirely new regime. Do you think Jonathan Gannon is safe for 2026?
I don't think it's 100% that he's gone, but if we're talking probabilities, I would say that he's probably gone. I think that his leadership is a little different, and we saw that in Hard Knocks when he's talking to a squad.
Who rode the bus here today?
Exactly. But we also know that
fire in your gut.
He hasn't had the greatest quarterback when it comes to leadership. He is talented. So it all depends on how they want to do this. You want to give him a chance to try to right his wrongs. Him and Pete are looking at each other like, hey, it ain't us. Come on, give us another chance.
Yeah.
But I think he's gone. But he wouldn't just come out and say this if he was just bluffing. Someone in the organization had to tell him, like, look, we'll see. We're leaning towards this, we're leaning towards that. I don't think he just comes out here blindly and says, I don't think my job is safe.
There are a couple other coaches around the league that people are eyeing as potentially, on Black Monday looking for a new job here. Do you think Raheem Morris out in Atlanta is one of those guys? We've all talked about McDaniel. Ownership for the Dolphins already came out earlier this season, and they were like, we're not firing him mid-season. He's here to the end of the year. But is he here in 26? A couple other guys I'm just curious about.
I think Raheem might have just saved his job.
With this win.
With that win. I think Glenn is safe with the Jets. You got to give him another try.
Yeah. You don't have your best defensive players.
And I can't say the same for Pete Carroll. I think just the way it looked over there, And yeah, I think Pete is out of there. I think Gann is out of there.
I think we're all just going to agree to forget that Pete was ever coach of the Raiders.
Yeah, just erase that from the books.
You know how you talk
It's
about
Michael
forgetting
Jordan
bad
Wizards.
memories?
Yeah,
like it'll just
exactly.
be kids in 15 years will have no idea that Pete ever coached the Raiders.
Yeah,
They're just not even going to know. We're going to collectively agree not to talk
no
about
reason
it.
to remember that.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Colts making another quarterback change. Riley Leonard will start for them in Week 18 over Phillip Rivers. What's the real headline?
I don't even have a joke for this. Real headline for me, why not just finish the season with Phillip Rivers? He's not hurt, and he wants to play. And Riley Leonard is not a clear part of your future. It's not like Anthony Richardson's healthy, and you're like, let's get him out there.
Yeah, that's true. I still think they want to see if he'd be worthy as of a backup, maybe. Because, Phillip is done. He ain't coming back next year.
You never know.
It's maybe week 7, 8, 9, and they need a 45-year-old to come in and save the day.
Once again, we have to call him
Possibly.
45-year-old Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but I think this is a trial for Riley. Are you good enough to hold it down at this backup spot?
Yeah.
And I heard that they were going to play Riley this past week, but they still had a chance to get into the playoffs, and Phillip had been working with the ones, so
Yeah.
they wanted him to keep it rolling. I'm not mad at it. If I'm Phil, I'm leaving though. I'm like, all right, man, I'm done here. I'm going back to my kids. You guys take care. I appreciate the opportunity.
I can't tell if it's good or bad news for either of these two quarterbacks, considering the opponent. Is it good or bad news for Phillip Rivers because they're playing the Texans? Is it good or bad news that Riley's getting the start because they're playing the Texans? This is a tough defense to have either your first start or your last one at 44 years old.
Yeah, they're like, let's see what you can handle.
Yeah, out of selfishness and curiosity, I want to see 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. It was very cool. It felt like vintage football.
It was vintage.
A throwback a little bit, which
Yeah.
makes me feel old saying, but it felt very cool to see Rivers back out there. There's something about time away, too. Like, think of your feelings. A lot of people don't like Aaron Rodgers right now. He's certainly had a decline in popularity over the last couple years. If Aaron Rodgers came back into the league at like 40, he's 42 now, let's say 46, people would be like, yeah, this is kind of cool. All of a sudden you like Aaron Rodgers. I think just something about coming back makes someone entirely easy to root for. Because I know people didn't like Phillip. Not everyone loved Phillip Rivers. He was a
Nah.
trash talker.
Nah, you appreciate him.
Yeah.
You appreciate him more now.
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3. Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times says the Mariners don't want to include big league talent in a potential trade for Brendan Donovan, but are open to including pitching prospect Jarangelo Sanjo. What's the real headline?
And who else? Because not dealing from the big leagues, bump to me is fair, but everything comes at a cost.
Yeah, there's going to be more than just that on the table if you want to get this guy. And I'm okay with them not trying to take big league talent because it's like, look, the nucleus of this team is important. They got you there. They understand how to win now, which is weird to say. They understand how to win. You don't want to pull from this rotation. Don't even talk about Julio Cal, Josh. It just makes sense to me, but you're right. They're going to ask for more. What are you willing to give up?
Yeah.
But this makes me feel like they're going to trot out the young guys at the start of the season and hope that they develop fairly quickly.
I was still really hoping they could get a deal done for Donovan, and they certainly can. It's possible, but I think it's going to – I wish I could be a fly on the wall for conversations about the pieces they're willing to deal. Because, again, Justin Hollander told us at the beginning of last season, we made a very specific choice not to deal our starting pitchers, and we feel pretty confident with that. And he ended up being right. The organization ended up being right in betting that depth there was the most important thing they could do. They ended up having injuries to basically everyone. And that was a problem that didn't end up costing them, I think, in part because they had pieces there. So I've done a 180. Initially, I was like, you have to make a sacrifice. What about Brian Wu? And then we had this season, and now I'm all aboard the approach of, like, do not deal these guys. But you can't then hang on to all of your prospects, your top prospects. Like, you have to make a very uncomfortable decision somewhere. They know that. I'm just wondering what other names they're looking at. I can't imagine it's Emerson or anyone like that, but
There's
is
somebody
it?
in there.
Yeah, but like how big are these names? Are we talking top 3, top 5? Certainly top 10, without a doubt.
Top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
A couple top 5s.
I mean, I think the ones people feel most attached to, Ryan Sloan, Cade Anderson, Colt Emerson. maybe Laz, and then outside of those guys, everyone is a tradable piece, but those are the names I hear most people say, please don't touch this guy.
Send your offer. Email it to us.
Yeah.
We'll approve it or not.
Maybe there's something else we can throw in there. Maybe we can get some gift cards together, coupons.
Throw some money in there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else to throw in there, but
That's all I got.
yeah, I would really like to
Diamond
see.
Club seats.
I'd really like to see some veteran help here, maybe a nice leadoff hitter. So, whatever I can offer. I got some nice Christmas presents. I'd be willing to give one of them up for Brandon Donovan.
And trade.
Yeah. Maybe not. I really am attached to my Bluetooth speaker now. I wouldn't know. Oh, I learned that Bluetooth isn't connected to Wi-Fi.
You thought it was?
Yeah, I thought, well, now I can't have Bluetooth. I know, Matt. I know. Please don't say anything. I learned a lot about Wi-Fi yesterday.
Well, you live and you learn.
I feel like I'm camping when I'm home now.
When is it getting fixed?
Wednesday at 4 p.m. So I have to go another full day without internet. I don't know what I'm going to do when I go home.
You have your phone.
You can kind of scroll, but not. You can't watch videos
Why not? Use your
because they
data.
just don't load quickly enough. They're just slow. Like it's so slow. My brain moves too fast, Bump.
I guess so.
I need quicker loading time for these things.
Okay.
It's just not happening.
Download some stuff on Netflix.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to download movies here, and then I'm going
Actually,
to have a book
yeah.
that I'm going to read.
There you go.
And I'm going to read it. I sure will. The games that matter in Week 18 coming up next.
Charbonnet breaks the tackle and he's in. Touchdown, Seahawks!
Setting up the biggest game of the season.
A critical, huge NFC West battle against the San Francisco 49ers.
Seahawks are going to play for the NFC West title, the #1 seed, and a first-round bye.
Holy catfish!
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Let's go do it. Let's go rip it.
Seahawks 49ers. Saturday. Kickoff at 5. Pregame at 2.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Your old furnace ain't nice, and your toes are like ice.
DayandNight.net. This month, Day and Night gives you a free furnace with the installation of an AC or heat pump.
If you're not sure your furnace will make it through another winter, call us to install a proper, long-lasting, efficient heating system backed by our lifetime workmanship guarantee.